What if your biggest weakness isn't something you can see, but something you've been ignoring? Why do some men stay stuck even when they seem to have it all? And what if the real damage isn't loud, but quietly eating away at your mindset? These aren't the usual surface-level flaws. Today we're uncovering 5 dirty hidden weaknesses that silently drain your power. Ones every man needs to face and master. So ask yourself, are you ready to get uncomfortable? To see the parts of yourself you usually avoid? If so, stay with me, because this might change more than just your thinking. It might change your direction. It sounds harmless, wanting to be liked, but when this becomes a hidden driver in your life, it poisons everything. You say yes when you mean no. You hide opinions to keep the peace. You shapeshift just to avoid tension. And in doing so, you lose the very thing that earns real respect: authenticity. This weakness often disguises itself as kindness or being easygoing. But it's not kindness. It's fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of not fitting in. Fear of being alone with your own judgment. A stoic man understands that external approval is unstable and shallow. What truly matters is how you see yourself when the world is silent. People-pleasing may bring short-term comfort, but it always comes with long-term damage. You become resentful, passive. You start attracting people who love the version of you that isn't even real. And slowly you forget what you actually believe because you're so used to adapting. To break free, practice speaking your truth calmly, even when it risks disapproval. Remind yourself, not everyone has to like you. In fact, the more real you are, the more polarizing you'll become. That's a good sign. Stoicism teaches us seek respect, not applause. And respect begins when you stop chasing it. Anger, jealousy, impatience, these emotions aren't the problem, how you react to them is. One of the dirtiest weaknesses a man can carry is being emotionally unstable, even if he hides it behind a calm face. When your emotions control you, you're not leading, you're leaking, and others feel it, whether you realize it or not. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless, it's about being emotionally disciplined. A stoic man doesn't suppress how he feels, he simply doesn't let it dictate his actions. When someone disrespects him, he doesn't explode, he evaluates. When a woman pulls away, he doesn't panic, he pauses. That kind of control isn't cold, it's command. Many men mistake reactivity for strength. I stood up for myself, they say, but what they really did was lose composure. True power lies in restraint. The ability to choose your response, even when your blood is boiling, is what separates the ordinary from the grounded. To master this, build the habit of observation. When something triggers you, don't respond immediately. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Or is it just my ego wanting attention? The more you practice this pause, the more unshakable you become. And in a chaotic world, calm is king. Modern life makes it easy to run, from boredom, from pain, from ourselves. The moment discomfort shows up, we scroll, drink, binge, or distract, but behind that pattern is a silent weakness. The refusal to sit with what's real. A man who constantly escapes discomfort never builds depth, only distraction. Stoicism teaches the opposite. A stoic doesn't avoid pain, he investigates it. He asks, why does this bother me? What's beneath the discomfort? Because inside that discomfort is usually the truth about our fears, our insecurities, and our unhealed wounds. Most men never face these things, they numb them. But avoiding discomfort has a cost. It stunts your growth. You become emotionally fragile, mentally restless, and spiritually shallow. When life gets hard, as it always does, you won't have the strength to stand because you never trained your mind to sit. You never learned to endure. To break this cycle, stop reaching for escape the moment things feel heavy. Instead, lean in. Feel the tension in your body. Notice the urge to run and let it pass. Each time you stay with discomfort a little longer, you become less controlled by it. That's how resilience is built, not in comfort, but in the fire you refuse to run from. A man without clear boundaries doesn't seem generous. He seems lost. When you say yes to everything, avoid conflict, or let others cross your line without consequence, you're not being kind. You're being controlled, and over time that erodes your self-respect more than any external failure ever could. Weak boundaries often come from a fear of being disliked or abandoned. But the cost of constantly accommodating others is enormous. You begin to feel invisible in your own life, resentful, frustrated, even angry at yourself. A stoic man, on the other hand, protects his space, not with aggression, but with calm firmness. Setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away, it's about defining who you are. It shows that you value your time, your energy, and your values. And here's the paradox. The more you respect your own boundaries, the more others respect you. Even if they resist at first, deep down, they recognize your strength. Start small. Say no without over-explaining. Pause before saying yes. Observe where you feel tension in relationships. That's usually where a boundary is missing. And remember, boundaries aren't walls, they're gates. And you decide who and what gets through. One of the most dangerous weaknesses isn't loud, it's passive. It's waking up every day with no direction, no mission, just reacting to whatever life throws at you. You keep busy, but you're not really building anything. That quiet drift might seem harmless, but over time it drains your fire. A man without purpose is easily distracted, easily influenced, and easily controlled. Why? Because he has no anchor. Without a larger why, every decision feels small, and every setback feels personal. Stoicism teaches that a man must live deliberately, with a sense of aim, not to impress, but to align himself with something higher. Purpose doesn't have to be flashy. It can be simple: growth, mastery, service, discipline. What matters is that it pulls you forward, especially when things get hard. Because without purpose, comfort becomes the goal, and comfort unchecked becomes a slow death. To find clarity, ask yourself, what am I building that's bigger than me? If the answer is unclear, don't panic. Start where you are. Build structure into your days. Choose discomfort that sharpens you. And remember, a man with purpose walks differently, talks differently, feels different in a room. That difference is power. If weakness grows in comfort, strength grows in challenge. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Epictetus trained their minds by intentionally embracing discomfort. Sleeping on the floor, fasting, walking in silence, not for suffering's sake, but to build mental clarity and resilience. Why? Because if you can choose discomfort, you won't fear it when it finds you. Modern men avoid discomfort at all costs, but the Stoic chooses it strategically. Cold showers, early mornings, saying no when it's easier to say yes. These practices harden the mind, not to become numb, but to become sharp. And sharpness, not softness, is what makes you reliable under pressure. This isn't about proving something to others, it's about proving to yourself that you don't fold when life tightens. Each time you endure something small and difficult on purpose, you train your nervous system to stay calm under stress. That ability, it's rare, and it shows. To begin, pick one discomfort each day. No phone for an hour, speak your mind in a tense moment, or hold your posture when you want to slouch. These micro practices lead to macro results. And in a world of passive men, the Stoic becomes the exception, because he chooses the hard path on purpose. Between stimulus and response, there is a moment, a pause. And in that pause lies your power. Most men skip it. They react immediately, emotionally, carelessly. But the Stoic trains himself to wait, not out of weakness, but out of mastery. That pause is where wisdom lives. When someone disrespects you, the pause gives you a choice: retaliate or respond. When a woman pulls away, the pause keeps you grounded. When you feel triggered, that breath, just one conscious breath, can save you from saying or doing something that weakens you. This is emotional precision. It's self-command. Pausing doesn't mean passivity. It means you act from clarity, not chaos. You're not ignoring the moment, you're owning it. Most people are slaves to their impulses, but the Stoic man has discipline not just over his body, but over his tongue, his tone, and his timing. Start practicing this in everyday friction. Traffic, conflict, rejection, discomfort. One breath, one mental step back, then move. Slowly, deliberately. When you master the pause, you stop being reactive and start becoming respected, because people feel when a man is in control of himself. A Stoic doesn't talk much about what he will do. He does it and lets the results speak. One of the simplest ways to build power and inner respect is this: only say what you truly intend to follow through on. When your words match your actions, you become trustworthy, not just to others, but to yourself. In contrast, weak men talk endlessly. They promise change, swear they'll improve, make bold declarations, but rarely follow through. Every broken promise chips away at their self-belief. Eventually, they don't believe their own words anymore, and neither does anyone else. That erosion happens quietly and painfully. When a man's actions align with his words, there's no need for loudness or explanation. You can feel the integrity. It creates presence, confidence, and quiet respect. And when you slip, which you will sometimes, you take ownership without excuses. That too is Stoic strength. Start small, commit to less but finish more. Speak less but mean every word, whether it's a workout, a boundary, or a promise to a friend. Make your word a contract with yourself, because once your words carry weight, so do you. A Stoic doesn't just live, he reviews how he lives. One of the most overlooked tools of inner strength is daily reflection. Before bed, Marcus Aurelius would write to himself, not to impress, but to stay honest. Where did I fall short? Where did I react? What did I do well? This habit sharpens awareness, and awareness creates power. Most men drift through their days without examining them. As a result, they repeat the same mistakes, fall into the same emotional traps, and wonder why nothing changes. But change only happens through attention, and attention requires space to slow down, observe, and learn. Reflection doesn't have to be long or dramatic. Just 5 minutes with a journal or sitting in silence can be enough. The goal isn't perfection, it's pattern recognition. Over time, you'll start to notice, I always lose my cool in this situation, or I keep avoiding this conversation. That awareness is your starting point for transformation. Make it a ritual, night or morning. No phone, no noise, just you and your mind. What you uncover might be uncomfortable, but that discomfort is gold, because the man who reflects daily improves daily. And over time, he becomes unrecognizable to the man he once was. Stoicism isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming who you were meant to be, with clarity and intent, and that doesn't happen by accident. Every day, you're either reinforcing your weaknesses or training your strength. The man you wake up as is not fixed. He's being shaped by your choices moment to moment. Too many men drift through life waiting to feel ready, or for life to force their growth. But the Stoic doesn't wait, he chooses. He wakes up with direction, not perfection. He understands that character isn't built once. It's built daily through repetition, through action, through will. Each moment is a fork in the road, comfort or courage, avoidance or honesty, distraction or discipline. These aren't grand, cinematic choices. They're small, quiet decisions. But added up, they define the man. And over time, others feel that definition when you walk into a room. So ask yourself, not once, but every day, who am I choosing to become today? Because you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your habits. And the Stoic knows becoming unshakable is not a single decision. It's a daily one. Every man has weaknesses. What separates the forgettable from the unshakable isn't perfection. It's awareness, discipline, and daily ownership. You've just heard 10 ideas that can reshape the way you lead yourself. But information changes nothing without action. So here's your challenge. Pick one weakness to confront. Pick one stoic habit to build. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Quietly, relentlessly. And now, I want to hear from you. Which part hit hardest? Which weakness do you see in yourself, and what are you going to do about it? Drop a comment. Be honest. This is your space. If this episode sparked something in you, subscribe, because we're not done. We're just getting started.